I was very pleased with today's practice. As is always the case, we'll get to look at the tape and see things that got to get better. But I thought the tempo and the excitement of the practice was good. It waned a little towards the latter half, but we jumped it back up and got more done. And we've just got to work really hard to keep that tempo throughout so that we can keep that tempo throughout our ball games coming up. That does not mean it's going to be perfect or there isn't a lot to clean up, but it does mean that the kids are going to be excited about getting back out here. And I like the way the coaching staff's working. I like the energy of the coaching staff. So I'm pleased with the start of the first 3 days. It's sad that Jeff Bach is gone for spring, but we'll keep our fingers crossed that he'll be ready when we get back together in August. We've got a great medical crew that will do their best to get that done, and I know Jeff will work hard to get that done as well. So overall, pleased.
Injury-free today?
As far as I know, it's always nicks and bumps. You know, there was some good old-fashioned blood, which is you like to see. We had, but nothing sounds like we're going to keep people from practicing. Damian Thigpen, I think, tweaked the hamstring. He slowed him down, so we'll see how long it'll be before we get him back.
What did you notice today about putting the pads on? Anything different from?
Well, you notice a lot different when the pads go on. You know, it's this is a game that requires some toughness, and you find out who really likes it and who kind of shies away. And we don't have very many of those. It's a situation where most of the guys really relish this opportunity to put the shoulder pads on. Well, the timetable is August 7th or whenever we get back together. You know, hopefully he can have all of that to get ready. And I'm sure there'll be a nursing him back to health portion of that, you know, so I don't know how much of the two-a-day stuff he'll do, but, you know, if we can have him full speed in September, that would be terrific.
There's a reasonable chance that he would be able to begin fall camp?
Yes, there's a very reasonable chance for that.
Come on.
One of the advantages is, and this is a credit to our medical staff, is they got him into surgery that night. You know, with Kai Maava, it swole so much that we had to wait almost 3 weeks to get the swelling down to do the surgery. And so we were fortunate that we got on it quickly.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the guys who redshirted last year and where they're at in their development?
Well, I'm very excited for Eric Kendricks. You know, Eric is was a bona fide big-time guy on our scout team last year, and he's flying around. You know, he's learning as he goes, but Tevin McDonald is a guy that I think is going to be a terrific football player, just a really instinctive football player. Let's see, Wade Yandel, I think, is going to help us with our depth on the offensive line. Isaiah Bowens played last year. He redshirted the year before. He was more of a special teamer, but Isaiah's getting to a place where he's competing for time, and I think will be a big asset to us. Who else am I thinking? Wesley Flowers. We're waiting to see Derek Bryant at defensive end. Both those guys we're hopeful can give us some depth there. AO, trying to learn. You know, AO in high school was a down guy, always had his hand in the ground, so he's learning a new position. But it's going well. He's obviously a very gifted athlete. Who else am I missing, guys? Is Jordan James. There's another one that I think you're seeing some flashes of what he can bring to us. And I'm also excited about Jordan as a kick returner.
You know, Kevin, I think he was scheduled to be evaluated today. Or
you know, I just talked to his doctor, and we're going to remain optimistic at some point next week where he'll start getting some 7-on-7 reps. He won't get into any of the team stuff just because it's too many bodies in and around there, but I think in 7-on-7 where it's a protected area around the quarterback, I think we can get him some more.
If he's limited, how does that affect the
competition?
Yeah, between Brad.
Well, fortunately, we know what Kevin's done. We've seen Kevin. We know what Kevin brings to the table with leadership. We know what he has in terms of his intelligence and understanding of the game, and I just think that he's going to be part of the mix when we get into the fall.
Do you have a time when you expect KP to be full speed?
August 7th. Yeah. You know. August 7th. We won't. I mean, he'll be full speed well before then. But in terms of when we next meet, it'll be that time.
What do you think of the other two quarterbacks today?
I thought there were some great things. You know, lots of still on the learning curve. We've got to still get a little bit more aware of our management skills with respect to snap count, with respect to understanding protection calls and different things, which is always the case with quarterbacks. But there's certainly an energy that both of them bring, and I think it's a healthy competition. I think it's lifting up everybody around them.
It looks like he's a playmaker.
Hundley?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, there's no question. Brett has made a lot of plays with both his arm and his legs, and you know, we don't want to ever coach the legs part out of it.
You've had a full week now. Who are some people that kind of stood out to you?
Oh gosh, you know, we're using Morrell Presley some more as the tight end rather than just a moving guy. I think he's doing some nice things. I really like Nelson Rosario, Randall Carroll. I think both those guys are doing some really good. Tony Dye on defense is kind of taking over a real leadership role. Sumwalt in the middle linebacker spot I think is terrific. Dayton's fun to see Dayton back out there. Cassius Marsh, hard to block. It was great that Sean Scheller was able to slide out to the quick tackle, you know, and show that kind of versatility. So we've got a number of guys that are doing, and whenever you ask that question, I leave people out, so I'm always hesitant. But know that I'm pleased with where we are. No, what we voted on a team council, and I'll share that with you next week. Who the team council is. I wanted the team to vote, and basically we voted for 3 seniors, 3 juniors, and 2 sophomores and 2 freshmen. Then I picked some at-large guys based on what the guys. But I wanted the peers to decide who those guys were, and the job of that group is, you know, help with creating a culture that's going to bring our championship back here, as well as provide for making sure that we take advantage of everything UCLA has to offer as far as getting an education and being a great citizen in this great school.
You didn't have that last season?
No, we had captains, and we voted on them before we came back to the season. I want a council, and then we're going to wait to see who the captains are, and I'm sure they'll probably come from that group, but don't have to after we've gone through training camp. I want to see, so everybody knows who's kind of taking that leadership role and is not only talking the talk, but also walking the walk.
Coach, what have you seen in your defensive line so far? It seems like a line where you'd have a lot of depth after your last.
We've got a lot of depth, still not a lot of experience, but you know, it's got to be an energy group. You know, we've got a lot of bodies there. We've got a lot of people so there's no reason to save it for the next play. We've got to make sure that we're coming off the ball, being aggressive, and getting into the offensive line and changing the line of scrimmage, and that's maybe where we're a little bit different from a year ago.
Are you going to begin to install a lot more next week?
We'll install probably for a whole nother week, and then by the next scrimmage, we'll scrimmage this time next week. Then we'll decide what more needs to go in, what we need to rein back on, and what we need to emphasize. We won't make those decisions until the conclusion of next week's scrimmage. Everybody good? All right. Hey, thank you.